In many regions, we experience rainfall for nearly half the year, meaning you will often be forced to light fires with damp wood in less than ideal conditions. The air is heavy, the ground is a sodden sponge, and a persistent chill works its way into your bones. In this environment, your first priority isn't the fire itself, but establishing a dry foundation. This is where a critical piece of gear comes into play: the waxed canvas sheet. This isn't just a cover. Its primary function here is to become your island of dryness in a sea of saturation. Lay it down, and you have an immediate, clean workspace to prepare your tinder. Every material you gather must be kept off the saturated ground, which will leach moisture back into it. Watch how water from the dripping canopy hits the canvas. It beads up and rolls away, refusing to penetrate the treated fabric. This simple barrier is the first step in defying the elements and is fundamental to your success. With a dry surface established, your attention turns to sourcing fuel. Your instinct might be to grab fallen branches, but this is a critical mistake. Instead, you must look up. We're searching for dead standing wood. These are branches, often Scots pine, that are dead but remain hanging in the canopy attached to the tree.
The physics are simple but vital. Wood on the ground is in direct contact with moisture, absorbing it like a sponge through capillary action. It becomes waterlogged. The dead branches hanging above, however, are subject to wind and air circulation. Gravity pulls moisture down and away from them, allowing them to drain and dry far more effectively than anything on the wet forest floor. They are your primary source for viable firewood. Once you've collected some promising branches, you must verify their internal dryness. The most reliable field test is the snap test. Don't just look at the wood, listen to it. Take a pencil-thick twig and apply sharp pressure to break it. You're listening for a clean, crisp, high-pitched snap. That sound is your confirmation of dry, brittle fibers. If the twig feels spongy, bends before breaking, or tears apart with a dull, ragged fracture, the wood is either green or saturated. Discard it and test another piece. While you're at it, pay attention to the joints of pine branches.
These nodes are often saturated with resin. This sticky, aromatic substance is a powerful natural accelerant, a gift from the forest that will help your fire catch, even in damp conditions. Alongside your fuel, you need a tinder that performs in the wet. For this, we turn to the silver birch. The paper-thin bark of this tree is a miracle of nature, infused with a chemical compound called betulin. This is a powerful hydrophobic oil that repels water, meaning the bark can be peeled from the tree soaking wet and still readily take a flame. When harvesting, be gentle. Peel away only the loose outer layers, never cutting into the living tree. A small handful is all you need. Once collected, the best place to store it is in a dry pocket, using your body heat to drive off any surface moisture. With our standing deadwood selected and our birch bark secured, we have the components for success. Now that we have our materials gathered and assessed for dryness, we need to process them effectively to access the dry inner wood.
Even with wet wood, the interior is often dry, so we start by splitting our larger pieces to expose that core. This technique is called batoning. You place a sturdy, full-tang knife across the grain of a damp log and strike its spine firmly with another solid piece of wood. This force drives the blade through, splitting the log open to reveal the drier heartwood inside. The bark acts as a natural protective skin, shielding this inner material from the rain. Once you have access to this dry core, your next task is to create feather sticks. Using a sharp blade, you carefully shave long, fine curls from the wood, ensuring they remain attached at their base. The goal here is to drastically increase the surface area of your tinder. These delicate feathers are designed to catch the smallest spark or flame, igniting quickly even in high humidity and providing the crucial initial heat needed to establish your fire.
With your tinder prepared, the next challenge is the ground itself. Building a fire directly on wet, cold earth is a common mistake. This is where the fire raft becomes indispensable. You're creating a simple, elevated platform from a layer of sticks laid directly onto the wet mud or saturated ground.
The principle behind this is simple thermodynamics. The cold, wet ground acts as a massive heat sink. It will pull the warmth out of your initial flame through a process called conduction, extinguishing it before it can catch the kindling. The fire raft is a critical layer of insulation. It creates a barrier, preventing this heat loss and ensuring all the energy from your flame is directed upwards into the fuel, allowing it to grow into a stable, self-sustaining fire. It is a non-negotiable step for success in wet conditions. Building a fire is a critical skill, but recognizing when to abandon that task for a more urgent one is paramount. This means learning to read the language of the weather. Your senses are your most reliable instruments for detecting an approaching storm. Pay close attention to a sudden, noticeable drop in the ambient temperature. It's often the first physical sign that a weather front is moving in. At the same time, you might notice a distinct, almost clean smell in the air. This is the scent of ozone, produced by distant lightning and carried on the wind. Finally, listen and feel for the wind itself. A distinct pickup in speed or a sudden gusting pattern are clear indicators.
These signs are not a suggestion. They are a direct signal to stop gathering resources and immediately begin building your shelter. Your priority has just shifted from comfort to survival. That immediate need for shelter highlights a core principle: efficient preparation and packing strategy. Your ability to react quickly is directly tied to how you organize your gear. Your most critical piece of rapid deployment shelter, a lightweight tarp, should never be buried deep inside your rucksack. It must live in an easily accessible location like an outside side pocket. Accessibility is the key to speed. When the temperature drops and rain begins to fall, you cannot afford to waste precious minutes and body heat unpacking your bag to find your shelter. Having it within arm's reach allows you to deploy it in seconds, creating a protective barrier against the elements before you're soaked. This proactive mindset is what separates a difficult situation from a dangerous one. With the tarp accessible in your side pocket, you are ready to deploy rapid shelter the moment you sense the temperature drop and wind pick up.
Find a sturdy tree and tie off one corner of your tarp as high as possible to create a steep angle for water runoff. This is the Plow point shelter, a brutally efficient design for shedding rain. Your anchor tree should be solid, with no dead branches overhead. Once that high corner is fast, stretch the tarp out. To get it taut quickly, use your backpack's weight. Place the pack on the tarp's fabric near the main ground anchor point before staking it down. This simple leverage pulls the material tight, eliminating wind-catching slack. A taut tarp is a quiet, effective shelter. Then, stake out the two side points to form the diamond shape. That steep angle you created is critical. It ensures rain sheets off instantly, preventing any pooling. Pooling water is heavy and will always find a way to drip on you. With this setup, gravity works for you. With your shelter established, you've carved out a dry island in a wet world. Move your gear and yourself underneath. The sound of rain on the fabric is proof of your work. First, protect your resources. That bundle of kindling you gathered, the driest twigs found clinging to tree trunks, is worth its weight in gold.
Unfurl your waxed canvas sheet and lay it over your wood pile. This creates a waterproof barrier, guarding your precious fuel from ground moisture and spray. Now for the heart of the fire, the tinder. Birch bark, with its flammable oils, ignites even when damp, but you must increase its surface area. Take the spine of your knife and scrape the bark with firm strokes. Your goal is to create a fine, fluffy pile of dust and curls. Think of it as making wood flour. Each tiny particle is ready to greedily accept a spark and burst into flame.
With your tinder nest prepared, introduce the spark. Take your Ferrocerium rod. Success here is a game of inches. Bring the tip of the rod right down into the edge of your birch dust. Anchor your hand on the ground for stability. Now press the striker firmly against the rod and shear it downwards in one committed motion. You're shearing off molten globules of metal at over 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. This intense, concentrated shower of heat goes directly into your tinder. The moment you see a wisp of smoke blossom into a tiny flame, your role shifts.
Do not dump fuel on it. You will smother it. Instead, apply the oxygen ladder. Gently lean your smallest twigs, no thicker than a matchstick, around the flame, creating a miniature teepee. This structure allows air to be drawn in from below, feeding the combustion. You are giving the fire room to breathe and climb. As that flame strengthens and licks up the sides of your kindling, introduce the next stage of fuel. This is the rule of layering. Let the fire grow and establish itself on the current layer before adding the next. Allow the flames to climb visibly above the wood. Only then do you add pencil-thick twigs, placing them carefully. Once those catch, you move to thumb-sized branches. Each step builds upon the last, creating a solid bed of coals at the base. This coal bed is your heat engine. It radiates intense heat that drives moisture from damper wood. Rushing this process is the most common reason for failure. Soon, the work is over. The fire is stable, crackling with confidence. The heat pushes back the damp chill. You can lean back against your pack, warm and dry, listening to the rhythm of the rain and the fire. By letting the flame creep above each layer before adding the next, you ensure a sustainable fire that allows you to finally relax and enjoy the woods, rain or shine.